Alright, so in this video I'm going to be talking about what Lookahead is for Megaminx, why you should care about it, and I guess how to actually improve it in your solves. I want to do a lot more of this ramble style content, I guess, because I used to watch a lot of Jay McNeill's stuff in 2019, 2020, and I just want to make more stuff that's able to apply to a lot of speed levels. Because I've noticed one thing I've got from a lot of people is, can you help me get sub 130, sub 230, sub 50, and just a lot of random speeds. So if I make general content, it's more likely to apply to you. And also whenever I'm just watching cubing content, honestly I don't really pay full attention. It's usually I have it on in the background, or I'm just listening to the audio. So I think making more of this stuff is going to be useful, because there's probably other people who just watch content the same as me. This is going to be very Megaminx focused, but a lot of this can apply to big cubes and most events to some extent. I'm just making this because obviously Mega is the event I'm best at, and I've just noticed that there's a lot more distinct pieces, so it can be a bit hard for people to apply 3x3 ideas of Lookahead to Mega. I guess trying to put it into simple terms, it's I think T1 put it a good way in some video he did for the cubicle, where he basically just said it's just not thinking about the pieces you're solving at that point. So it's just planning ahead, thinking ahead, whatever. As long as you're you're not only focused on what you're solving, then that counts as Lookahead, I guess. So if I'll just take taking the star as an example, the pieces that kind of strike out to me are this white-green one, light red here, light blue, and light purple. What I probably do for solving is try and solve these relative to each other, so get blue here, and before doing that do a U2 prime to set up the white-green here, and I notice that moves up this edge here, up to here, so it's going to be quite easy to build that pair here once I'm done with it with the star. So yeah, my star here would look like this, while also trying to look ahead to this and work out how to solve it. If I did something like U2 prime, R2 prime, then same here. And then as I'm solving this, I can notice the two pieces are quite close, and also I could kind of solve the red-blue pair was quite good here. So those would be the next things I solve after this. And then the process just carries on for the entire solve. If you weren't doing Lookahead in this situation, you'd kind of be thinking, you'd have maybe a 1 second pause here after you do this pair. And then you're kind of oh crap, what do I solve next? Oh, I see this. And then you do the same thing here, oh, what do I solve? This. And then there's not really any sort of structure to your solve, it's just pausing for a second or two and then solving it. And that's just going to add maybe a lot of time to your solve. So it's a very good idea just to work these things out and plan ahead so you don't have these big pauses. So yeah, Lookahead can kind of go in a lot of different ways. So obviously just what you're going to solve next, how exactly you're going to do that, where you want to rotate next in the solve. If you're here, for example, you might be thinking about, okay, I'm looking ahead towards edge orientation, I want to probably do a sledge or something so I can get a better EO case. It's just ideas that can be applied to F2L, S2L, and even last layer in some cases. I think the key thing is just thinking about what you're going to solve later, and not only being focused on what you're solving now. So the main thing I've noticed watching a lot of world-class solvers, so LML, TCY, Nicholas, is a lot of them are near pauseless in their F2L and S2L. Obviously their turning speeds, how they solve pieces, their efficiency, etc. vary a lot, but the main thing is they're able to look ahead quite well. I made a TikTok on how to improve Lookahead a few months ago, where I did a few specific things, but I kind of want to go in more in depth in those and just add a few more thoughts onto these. The first point I'd make is, I guess, using a fixed order to your advantage. So one advantage for Mega solving is you're going to have a fixed order. So what that means for S12 is you're usually going to start off with one sort of area of the Megaminx you solve first. So for me, I usually start in this sort of yellow, blue, light green, pink region, and then I kind of go from there toward and turn the Megaminx clockwise from there. I guess a good thing is the scope of pieces you're going to solve next is going to be lower. So there's less stuff you have to make a mental note of, and therefore it's just more manageable in terms of how much you can think. So for example here, if I was solving this pair first with like, I don't know, like DL prime, R prime, or like, I don't know, whatever that finger trick is, I can be looking ahead to think, okay, that's going to be the next piece I solve. And then my next step would be thinking, where's pink, blue, where's the other pair that goes here? And you can sort of see both of them here. And that becomes a lot more manageable to solve versus thinking, oh, what's the most efficient thing to do here? Like, you just know, okay, there's only a few set things, or like a few set options. So that's usually a lot better for Lookahead, in my opinion. So I think, at least when you're starting out, it's just way easier to use a fixed order, and it's just more practical as well, even at like world-class levels. Unless you're like Juan Pablo, who's just a genius at this sort of stuff, I think a fixed order is probably best for most people. So yeah, it would kind of look like, yeah, so starting off with this, and then looking ahead to like pink, red, and then probably purple, orange, because I can, and then yeah, orange, green, like that, and then just going around for the entire mega mix like that. The other good thing is it kind of means you have to rotate less in your solves. So if I was doing like not really having an order, I might rotate to here and then back. But at least with like having a fixed order, you know you're only going to rotate here and then here and then here throughout your entire solve. So I guess you've kind of got a good understanding of the pieces next to the region you just solved. So you don't really have a full reset on your like understanding of the mega. For inspection, like the amount you decide to plan is fully up to you and like depends on your skill level a lot. So usually for me it's planning like 3 or 4 star pieces and then just having an idea of where the rest of them are, and also maybe 1 or 2 F12 pairs. So in a case like this, I think being realistic, I'd probably only like plan or know how to like one low-cost solve just probably these 3 pairs or edges. And then I also see that I can also sort of plan or predict to make my Lookahead better. So if I start off with like an R2 here, that doesn't really break up any of these first 3 edges and doesn't affect these other 2. And also do like something like hit this to put these together. That's going to put the 2 sets of pairs I want to solve first close to each other. So I can just have a bit more of a seamless transition into like actionable. And yeah, like the amount you like plan or just think in your inspection is just, as I said, fully up to your skill level. But the main thing is like as long as you're like thinking ahead in some capacity, then you'll be fine, in my opinion. So yeah, if I put that into a solve, it would look something like this. So doing an R2, and then probably that. And then also looking at this pair, seeing that, and then red-green is like very close, and then blue-yellow I think is here, yeah. And then that just makes your whole F12 a bit more fluid and like a bit more, I guess, like pauseless, and that's usually a good thing for like your turning as well as, yeah, just most areas of your solve. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I did kind of say reduce your rotations where possible, and I think it's kind of the same thing I'd say here. Usually as you're doing your S12 order or F12, the rotations you do are maybe like a Y or a Y prime, maybe a few Z moves, and that's kind of it. But I think the key thing is trying to like keep your rotations to maybe like only 1 or 2 sides max, so you've got some basic understanding of like where pieces are, so you're able to like have more knowledge of the pieces local to where you're solving. Because otherwise, if you do like a Y2, you're not going to have any idea what's on this side or where the rest of the pieces are. But at least if you do like a Y, you're going to know vaguely what's here, and some of what's here. So you're going to be in a better position. I've kind of noticed watching some of LML's solves is he gets to like a certain stage of S12, maybe when he has only like 2 or 3 blocks left to solve, that he does almost most of it rotationless. I think that's kind of like the optimum. I'm kind of not that stage yet, but that is kind of a good way to do it if you don't want to compromise turning without doing like weird BL and BR moves. Like the TLDR for this bit is just try to reduce rotations where possible. And yeah, because if you do a lot of rotations, you're basically like constantly resetting your knowledge, and you're going to just be bad at Lookahead and thinking ahead in your solve. Another good practice I've noticed is like having a few ways of building and solving pairs. Right, so in a situation like this, I'd probably be solving this light green blue piece next, and then looking ahead to this pink green light blue corner and this edge here next. So like what I mean by that is you can do something like this and then do an F, and then you've kind of got this to solve. But the key thing is when you're doing this, you want to look ahead to what can I solve next. So the things that stand out are these sort of blocks, which are going to be the next thing I solve. So I guess there's other way. You don't want to, I guess in a situation like this, you can just do like a U2 prime, R2, U, R2 prime, and that kind of just keeps everything intact. Whereas if I did, I don't know, like that, it kind of shifts everything around and you don't really know anything on this area of the mega. So the key thing is just like knowing there's multiple ways to solve a pair, and from that you can sort of like choose the one that works best for the case without like destroying everything you want to solve next. So I guess stuff like that can help you like look ahead a bit better. So I think there's like the sort of key things you can do for like mega look ahead. They kind of apply to a lot of different speeds. So yeah, I hope this video helps.